first learned of the concerns last month, I reached out to the community board, Susan specifically, and said, let's set a meeting up with the individuals, the principals, and the neighbors who have concerns. The purpose of the meeting is to figure out what we're doing that are bothering people and how we can address that. We had a meeting set up, and I understand that people couldn't make it. I represent the licensee. I am here on a regular basis before you. If someone's breaking stipulations, they can't. If we're doing something that's disturbing our neighbors, we won't. And the bottom line is, my suggestion is the same as it was initially. Let's sit down outside of the community board and have a conversation rationally that addresses everybody's concerns. I don't think this is an immediate concern for the community board. Alex, I think the renewal is May or April?
I think it's March.
Is it March? Good, then you'd have another opportunity to meet with us, if you were so inclined. That's what I think is the most reasonable approach, rather than what's going on right now.
When did you set up this meeting?
Let's talk about the meeting.
We were never informed of a meeting.
So I don't even.
I didn't even know you were involved in this.
Please.
Hold on.
I didn't know.
And the comment that you made that you sent me complaints, you never did.
No, I talked to you about
never
that.
did.
Frank, you and I talked
Back and
repeatedly
forth.
about that.
When
at
did
the
you
meetings.
try
Come on,
to
Frank.
arrange a meeting?
Yeah, I didn't know.
February
that.
1st.
And with whom?
Yeah, with
That was with me, I told you, I could send you information about that.
we know.
And-
It was with the office and the residents above the bar who had reached out to us and were
To the
working
office.
with us.
We reached out to you, Susan. Stop doing it. We've given you many complaints about them over the years. Are you kidding us?
I'm not.
I don't
talking
care,
about
Susan. You're the worst. I can't
Oh,
even hear
come on.
this.
You know, just
No, come on. We're part of
try to
it.
be professional.
Look at all the one resident. There's 15 people here that are dealing with
Please
it.
stop speaking out of turn.
I don't care. She's really has to be fired.
Everybody, stop speaking out of turn. Please speak only when you're called on. So you tried to set up a meeting through the office with residents who had submitted complaints to the office. I think there were 2 or 3 of them.
I don't want to say that, Alex. I just notified the community board that we were available to meet, and we still are available to meet. There's no, this gentleman seems very, may I finish speaking, sir?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, please stop speaking out
The
of turn. I
same-
appreciate that.
The same rules apply, and that is we'd be willing to meet with the neighbors who have concerns within the next 2 weeks or so that they have ample time before the March meeting to discuss this issue. I think that that's a rational thing to do, rather than, with all due respect, what I consider to be a lynching mob, which is what this is right now. Everybody's unhappy.
Well,
I'm not even saying they're wrong for being unhappy, but let's have a normal dialogue.
from a threshold, I think the issues that Carol raised are issues that can be dealt with now, because if they're inconsistent with how you're supposed to be operating, then you just need to stop.
Can I ask if we could just run through those right now?
Well, let's discuss, you changed your facade so you have accordion doors, right? That's inconsistent with the agreement that we had with you. It's inconsistent with the stipulations that were
Wait a
signed in
minute.
2014.
I thought you said it was an open facade. Doesn't mean we can't install accordion doors, it means we can't open them.
They
basically.
are open.
Right, but you want us to keep them closed. That's what the stipulation
So the
says.
facade has to be closed.
Right, I'm saying it's not a problem
You
that
know
we...
you're just arguing with me about
No,
semantics
I don't want to,
because I've never had this actual
No,
argument with anybody.
because in your line of thinking, you're making me replace the doors.
No.
All I want to do is close them.
And again, I don't believe in the 19 years I've sat on this committee that I've ever asked anybody to actually replace their facade. I've never done it, and you have seen me, if not all those years, almost all those years. So if the facade has to be closed, it has to be closed consistent with the stipulation.
I agree.
That's something that doesn't need to be negotiated.
Alex,
If you
Alex,
if you agreed
let
to
me
a
speak for 1
certain-
second. You said we violated the stipulation by putting in accordion doors.
Yeah, and opening
That's
them.
not the case.
And
We
open
violated the stipulation by
doors
opening
open.
them.
My doors open, opening them.
Right, so the door should not be open, I agree.
There's clearly dancing because your patrons talk about going there to dance. The dancing has to stop. You don't have a cabaret license. You agreed you wouldn't have a cabaret license. You could apply for a cabaret license and yet never sought to do so. You can't have dancing in your premises. Do you understand that? Well, I don't know if you do, because this is something that has come up in the past. You can't have dancing.
It's difficult to stop people from dancing, but we will.
No, There's a sign, so you at least, and I read the Yelp
It's not.
reviews, apparently
Don't
there's
make
a
an eye
sign.
believe in Yelp.
So you at least have the beginning of a conversation with people to stop them from dancing.
Stop the convention.
You agree to have a certain type of business. Again, I don't understand it. Below Houston, people who want a cabaret license don't actually apply for the cabaret license. I'm not saying that we would be amenable to that, but you just allow it, unpermitted, which you can't do. You have an agreement about a specific amount of security, and you can speak to whether or not you actually have that security on a daily basis. It's clear that you have stipulations regarding how much security you should have during all the days of the week. That's something that should be in place to control your crowds, and you're hearing that there are multiple complaints about crowds, how you're controlling them, whether or not you're controlling them, and the noise generated from the crowds outside. We haven't even, we haven't talked about the inside, we're talking about the outside space. If you had security consistent with your stipulations, you may actually be able to address that, but we're hearing that you have inadequate security. So you can have it.
Not the proper number?
I said you can speak to whether or not that's true, because if you have adequate security,
I don't have the
or
stipulation.
security consistent, the stipulations are that there need to be 2 security guards Sunday through Thursday, 3 security guards Friday through Saturday,
Is that what you have?
at least one of whom is always at the door, and if that's not working, then that's something that has to change.
You have 2 weekends, we have 4.
Alex, I believe they did get violations recently by the police for this security.
I don't
You
have
did
a
get
history.
violations for
Yeah,
improper
because the
security.
security is not come from
Not
company,
licensed.
but all license, but right now I got from company.
The police said they got violations.
For
and-
We must have been,
and the
no,
police
we were
had them
employing our own
charged.
apparently. We were employing our own security guards rather than use a company, so now we start using a company.
I have some question.
One moment, I just want to finish going through what I was going through. Carol, what else do I
It
know?
was the 311 complaints one time corrected.
Okay, well, that's noise, which is
We're just
not
verifying the
stipulations, but
noise,
something.
but it's we have a problem.
Residents themselves are saying that you're not addressing their complaints, and part of your
Not responsive.
stipulations is that you would immediately respond to resident complaints. But the reason they're coming to us, I mean, listen to this one who says he's texting, who are you texting?
You, I don't know.
So he's texting you,
But he's-
if you're an
Last
inadequate, if you're an inadequate responder because you're in another state, then you need to provide for him someone who immediately responds to complaints.
Yeah, but he say I'm very helpful. I help it. He tell me put the music down in seconds down. Yes or no?
No.
No?
Emphatically.
So, I mean,
Okay.
One
How about I have all the
complaint-
text
one
message
complaint-
between me and him to show you he don't say the truth.
Sure.
And
well,
his-
and if you wanna print them out, I
I
don't
gotta
wanna look
print
at your
out.
phone, then
About
you
his
can simply
roommate, he
submit them.
promised me, tell me I do all my power to shut you down.
Just like he can do the same thing, but.
How about all the underage party upstairs? And I have recorded video, 5 video, and I recorded the video, 100 kids going up. I have in my phone right now, and I ask one guy how much the cover charge. He tell me $20. Okay. How
Have
about
you,
that?
and I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you, have you addressed that with your landlord at all?
The landlord, he bring him by purpose because his roommate, he tell me, the landlord is my best friend for a long time. We come here for a reason. The landlord, he wanna kick me out
It has
from the
nothing to
business.
do with it, but I want him to complete his thoughts since this is how he's responding to the complaints against him. All right, anything else, Carol?
That was my list.
So his complaint is that there's an underage party going on above.
Yes,
him.
I have a lot of video.
Okay.
don't
Have you,
have-
please furnish it to the police, is all I can tell you. We can't enforce underage parties, private parties, we can't enforce those.
Unfortunately, they're not
Please,
licensed.
yeah, they're not licensed, please provide that information to the police if you're speaking to the police.
Next time
Go
I
to
do.
the bar meetings, we're not the people who can address your complaints upstairs.
Okay,
I find it,
good to know.
well,
So,
I
it
don't know
seems-
why I have to tell you
It
that.
seems to me, I mean, just to jump in here, but it seems to me, first of all, I just wanna say to Frank, this idea that they should all come back next month after showing up this month is just patently unfair. You know, we see people do this, I mean, it's just not fair to people that ask them to come month after month. They're here, we're here, we're spending time on this.
Yes.
I think we bring it to a conclusion. And I would just say, like, I don't see, like, sometimes we're in a situation where somebody has, you know, kind of restrictive stipulations and we don't wanna like, you know, not renew or recommend renewal because we don't wanna lose the stipulations. I don't see what we have to lose here. You know, I think this is something where I don't see where the community gets harmed by recommending that they don't approve the renewal. I mean, where's the downside to anybody? I mean, it's such a question, but it might not happen, but where's the downside?
I did tell the gentleman he could speak, but.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let him, and then I'll let Chief.
And then
I
Lisa
also
had
have my hand up.
Sorry,
And
I
then
blocked
Lisa.
No,
Yeah,
it
is
was
there
not,
anything
my
else?
question was about like the stipulations with regards to promoted events. I'm not like familiar with stipulations, but all I was just gonna say is that if one of their stipulations that they can't have covers of promoted events, you can just go on their Instagram. That's like all you need to see. But I mean, you guys have covered that, so.
So we've spent half an hour on this application thus far as the person that's supposed to keep the conversation moving. I would like to take, I guess I would like two things. One, if there's anything else the applicant wants to add specifically in regards to the stipulations that people have allegedly complained about and witnessed. And then if there's nothing that you would like to add, I would like to start a conversation amongst the committee members about forming a more restrictive set of stipulations.
I want to ask a
Lisa
question.
and then Susan. Go ahead, Lisa.
I'd like to have the applicant explain to the best of his ability how the fact that this community board recommended no promoted events, how the stipulation got submitted to the SLA saying there could be 4 promoted events per week. How did that happen?
Oh, I don't know.
Frank was.
I wasn't the lawyer.
I think
It was Terry.
Was the lawyer.
So does the
I don't think that-
applicant himself have any information on that?
We board the corporation because everything, the license is active, and the lawyer, he applied for 3-4 nights to Vermont.
So you're saying your lawyer changed the stipulation that?
I don't know what happened. Okay.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He says lawyer applied for 3 or 4 nights. He didn't say the lawyer changed it.
I
The
don't know.
questionnaire is not consistent with what the stipulation represents.
That's odd, because I've
And
never seen that.
it's not consistent with the notice
I
either.
can't even-
So, I mean, we can just create, and have whatever we're gonna do, we can create a whereas clause outlining the history, but including that it was administratively approved, with my understanding that it was a corporate change, and that,
But I'm sorry,
and
Alex,
what we understood were the stipulations from 2012, but this additional stipulation was written in.
could you just tell me one thing? At what stage did this happen?
It
Was the
appears-
stipulation changed?
It appears it was written in by the applicant before it was sent to the community board
At what
office.
stage of this?
And then
When the
Corporate
board-
change?
when it
from
was
the board
heard in
sent it to the
2000,
lawyer.
March of 2014.
Is that the original application? No.
No, it
What was March of 2014? What was that for?
It was, again, represented to me to be a corporate
Corporate
change.
change. So I wanna-
So,
wanna
whether
investigate
it's
myself, so
new
I'd
or
like to know.
corporate change, Joseph Torres was still at least one of the principals.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is why I think we thought it was a corporate change. But the office did look at the paperwork, and I looked at the application that was submitted, which didn't list promoted events of any kind. So again, what I think happened is the stipulations were changed by the applicant or the attorney, I can't say who, submitted, and then the change was not observed by me, and the office created a motion based on the stipulations. So whether or not we're now bound by them, I can still point out to the SLA that that was an error, because that wasn't something that was contemplated by us. Go ahead, Susan.
So, this isn't what I wanted to speak to. On rare occasions, things happen. This is one of those things we can't really figure out. What we did find was it was sent to the lawyer, and what came back was not, which was supposed to be sent to the lawyer to be signed. What came back was not the same thing. We don't know how it happened or why. But what I want to speak to actually was Carol's comment about what do we have to lose for denying it, which, as you know, is meaningless. To me, the issue we're working with the guys above, I would like the result or to come to an agreement, if possible, that will resolve some of these issues. And that's what I think, I don't know if it's possible, but I would certainly like to at least try to have an agreement that would resolve the issues.
I don't, it does seem to be, why is that tied in with this?
Because you can't deny it and do that. I mean, you're not gonna do a
But they need
denial.
to do it,
and-
they need to do it anyway. If we weren't here tonight, they would still need to do that, right? They need to
No,
address
you
these
need to,
problems.
well, you need to document stuff. I mean, some things are documented, some things are allegations. So, to the SLA, anything that's not documented is, or any law is meaningless if it's not documented.
But do you think-
Sometimes it is possible for people to understand. I mean, they've now gotten violations for security, they've now gotten violations for noise. So I would wanna know, what are you gonna do to change the noise problem?
Please, can we talk about the law?
And with each thing.
But those issues.
No, I have to tell you something about the
they're
law.
not-
They're doing it,
not
breaking
new.
it now,
They're not
tonight.
new issues. Those issues have been, as I understood it when Alex was reading off the complaints, those issues have been around for a long time. And these guys have ignored it.
We
And
actually
so-
just got the noise violation in the last 2 weeks.
But you did, but they've heard from people in the neighborhood and their neighbors that this is a problem for a long time, and they're not crime corrected, that happened over the course, that was like.
So I think
It
what
doesn't mean the
Susan,
same
I think
thing.
what
So,
Susan
but it-
is saying is that, this commissioner has made clear to us, for example, that 311 calls on their own are of no moment to him in determining whether or not there should be a renewal, right? I attach them, and if you see, when I make resolutions, now I put them at the end as corroborative evidence of the complaints that we're receiving and maybe other information or documentation that we've supplied, more toward the top of a motion, right? So I still include them even though he's told us specifically that he doesn't really credit them.
But I would go back to my point, like,
There are,
where's the harm? I don't think so, I don't get any vibe or sense from these people whatsoever.
so there are ways
That asking them to meet with these guys over the next couple of weeks will create new,
And
will
I'm not
create
going
new
there.
movement.
And I agree with you. It's
So,
not that
so
I'm
I don't
talking
think that
about.
should change anything we do
Can I
tonight.
please
I
get
think
back to
desirable-
One moment, please, Deanne, you had an opportunity.
No, this is really
to speak,
important.
and
It's
we're
about the
actually
law. They
having-
are breaking the law. If you look at their Instagram, they're giving
gonna
away
talk-
free
she's gonna talk
shots.
anyway.
They're giving away free shots. You can enforce.
Have a seat, I'm happy to bring that up. I
Okay.
read it in your, I read
They're
it in your
doing it
statement,
now.
even if I didn't say it out loud.
Wow.
You're just interrupting a
I
conversation
don't
that
need
we're having.
enforcement.
Yes, I understand.
So I think
They're breaking
it'd be
the law,
great if
using
they
law.
met and could try and address these problems, but I don't think that's.
Carol, that wasn't what I was saying at all.
Okay. I thought you were
No,
saying we
I'm
shouldn't
not
do
referring to
anything
them
tonight.
meeting whatsoever.
I never,
I'm referring only to this committee, if this committee could get them to agree to things.
so we've had this.
That's all I was referring to.
So we've had this discussion on a number of occasions with respect to renewals, and there are different ways that we can approach a renewal. We can, and in some instances, we have like somebody who complains and the complaint is resolved, and we can just approve it or not. And we don't have that case here, or not even weigh in any way. And then there are two other ways that we can address it, one of which we all agreed, because this is not even the first SLA commissioner, the last SLA commissioner also spoke to this very specifically at community meetings, that denying is just really creating a record without any practical consequence for the residents who have the complaints, because the SLA is just gonna approve the license unless there's actual criminal activity occurring at the location that would result in it being shut down. So we can catalog the complaints for the SLA, which, by the way, they already have, because we've been getting some complaints that have been CC'd to us that have gone to the SLA, so they have a record of these complaints regarding noise, regarding, and I can speak to it more specifically, different aspects of the method of operation that are not consistent with stipulations and or are illegal because they're not permitted. The alternative is, if we can, and you said that as they read, the stipulations are relatively permissive, we can ask the SLA to attach stipulations to the renewal license which we do on occasion in an effort to try to resolve the existing complaints. And which they have done for a number of businesses. So we could take either of those tacks. And I think that's what Susan was speaking to. You know, do we feel that there's gonna be no impact in creating stipulations? As Carol said, her expectation, based on what the attorney is saying, is that however things proceed, they want to address the resident complaints. We can create stipulations that assist them or give a guideline to how they can be addressed most expeditiously, or we can do an outright denial where we say these are the complaints, we don't see how we can resolve them. Committee, do you have a sense of what you want to do?
I don't see the fact that they're ignoring the original stipulation, and if there's no exact penalty, or they don't expect it to have a denial, whether they would even honor any new stipulation that is